Okay, good evening. It is Wednesday, January the 16th, 2019. Welcome to week three of contemporary issues in criminal justice. And I am Professor Richard Wright. You can call me Richard Wright, or you can call me Dr. Wright. It doesn't matter which one you call. Either one. I'm here to be your guide to help you during this course. As I've stated from the beginning, this course is kind of akin to an independent studies course. And so my role is to pretty much be hands-off with you for this course, but at the same time to provide guidance and instruction to help you to navigate each of the modules for when we have our lectures. And of course, on the weeks that we don't have lectures, then you know what the rule is about reaching out to me. I provide that at the beginning of the quarter, and I'm available any hour except the 25th hour of the day, as you should be able to know. And so I'm going to get right into sharing my screen. These lectures usually don't last an hour. They last less than that because of the fact that you know that there is no textbook in this course. But I do remind you, pay close attention to rubrics and be sure that you include APA and critical thinking in your papers. Those are important. But rubrics do not exclude APA. They include APA for all written assignments, including the field project, which I've elaborated on in detail. And so we take a look at week 3, local ethics. So what you're going to do in your week 3 written assignment is you're going to describe the future of criminal justice as it relates to diversity in your paper, creating a sharing to improve ethics in criminal justice, including some demographics and other statistical data from your area here. There's a lot of ethical issues that are taking place in criminal justice, which is one of the reasons why criminal justice, especially in the law enforcement aspects of criminal justice, is under severe attack. And I said at the beginning during the open house that my goal is to produce ethical, professional, and educated criminal justice individuals. And so ethics is very, very, very important. Ethics is the thing that will help us to have a better relationship with the community, and you should be aware that in criminal justice that the support of the community, again, especially in law enforcement, is critical so that we are able to provide details as far as issues that take place. So you want to make sure that you have that. Okay. So now, oops, you know what? You can't even see what I'm talking about. So I got to go back. I got to go back to this and share my screen. Oops. Okay. Okay, now you can see what I was talking about. I apologize for that. But yeah, you see where I talk about the importance of rubrics, APA, and critical thinking is very, very, very important. But make sure you do follow it. So let's go back down to where I was. I was at week 3, the written assignment, local ethics, describe the future of criminal justice as relates to diversity. We've already established the importance of diversity. I read several of your posts, and very good. Diversity is so critical, As a matter of fact, you are reminded that it is one of our transferable skills, that we, um, that we constantly uh, focus on and provide details. So you want to make sure that you pay close attention uh, to that. And then getting down to the issue here, create a deliverable for this assignment to improve ethics and criminal justice drawn from the local area and your APA grammar and things of that nature. Then we scroll down to when our next lecture takes place. Our next lecture is week 6. Week 6. So you should be aware of the requirements of the assignment for week 4 and week 5. So you can take a look at those. If you have any questions, reach out to me. So our next lecture will be week 6, and then we'll have just 2 more lectures after that. Be sure to attend the lecture or check for the keyword that is necessary. Okay, very important. All right. So now let's get into the actual written assignment, the announcement. For this week, diversity in criminal justice is what we're dealing with. And so to prepare for this, you read Module 3, or what's in the module, because there's no textbook. And we're going to go over that in a minute. Remind you about the lecture and the importance of completing your assignments on time. And then your discussion assignment. Make sure you complete the discussion assignment that's listed in the module. And notice the deadlines, which the initial post was due on yesterday, 11:59 p.m. Central Standard, and reply post due this Saturday. And then finally, the written assignment that I just referred to is local ethics, and then make sure you follow the requirements of the rubric. And then I've already talked about starting strong, finishing strong, and remind you that adversity is the springboard to success. Okay, and that's the assignments for that period. So now let's take a look at the actual module. Again, just take a look at the assignments. Local ethics, the relationship between diversity and ethics. That's what your paper is going to be pretty much. It's a 1 to 2 page Word document. Make sure it's a Word document. Also make sure that you run your papers through Grammarly, that you have proper spelling, grammars, that you have citations and references. It doesn't say it here, but it does say it in the rubrics. I've already told you, don't just look at what's required here. Focus on the rubrics, because the rubrics are very important in making sure, because you will miss APA if you just look at this. But I already have said on the course homepage that all written assignments, all, not some, should be APA, which means citations in the body, references at the end, a cover page, and written in Roman 12. Okay? And then your discussion assignment, which you're working with diverse co-workers and clients. And then finally, due this Sunday, is the keyword that I'm going to give you that you need to get your points after viewing this live lecture, unless you attended the lecture itself. So those are the assignments. Again, I cannot stress the importance of getting your assignments in on time. Very, 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 very important. So let's take a look at what we're going to deal with, how important diversity is, so much that we're going to take a few minutes and talk about that. And then these are the assignments which I've already gone over with you. Okay, so now, here we are talking about diversity. As you, again, will recall that one of the important factors that we determine in this school and in all programs, but as I emphasize in criminal justice, is that we are very, 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 very focused on diversity. As you know, you will come into contact with people from various walks of life, various cultures, various religious beliefs, speak various languages, some of which you don't understand, but you still need to be able to operate within the system to serve those individuals. Maybe you can utilize a translator, your body language. Maybe they can write down something, or you can write down something. Because there are sometimes people who cannot speak the language but can read the language. Then there are some people who can speak the language but they don't know how to read it or write it. My point being is this, is that it is important that you recognize that you in the field of criminal justice, no matter whether you're a probation officer, parole officer, a police officer, an attorney, corrections, in jails, prisons, or any other areas that relate to criminal justice, you're going to have people that are different from you that you're going to be called upon to serve. And so you need to be prepared. And so what are we talking about by dealing with diversity? Some of the things that people have said in their discussion posts that I've read is that you remain open-minded. You recognize the fact that people do approach things differently, and that just because they approach it different from you does not make it wrong what you're doing, nor does it make it wrong what they're doing. The key thing is to be empathetic and to allow those individuals to flow with who they are. The one thing that you do not do is establish a conclusion that there's something wrong with that person. Even if you don't understand them, that doesn't mean there's something wrong with them. What I will tell you, 9 times out of 10, it means there's something wrong with you. That means you're not operating in a vein where you're applying yourself as a criminal justice professional. You can't get frustrated, you can't get angry, and you can't use language, even if the person doesn't understand it. You can't use cuss words, or you try not to elevate your voice or elevate the situation or escalate it. Your idea is to arrive at a scene, if particularly, again, I got to keep bouncing back on law enforcement, where you are going to try to de-escalate. You're going to have that situation in other areas as well. And so the point of the matter is that criminal justice professionals, and I say criminal justice professionals, will deal with people who have issues that sometimes they're social issues. They may have a drug problem. They may have an alcohol problem. They may not be able to communicate through hearing, and they may not be able to speak. There may be people who understand signing. In other words, not being able to hear nor speak, but understand the hand signs, or maybe the body language that you can present. But I will say this to you, that dealing with a situation with a frown sometimes, in a situation for the individual you're trying to help or that you need to be helping. A smile, or either, demonstrating that you're concerned. You must be able to do what I call active listening. You must not multitask, if not in most times, to communicate with those individuals. But the key thing in diversity is to learn to accept the differences that people have and how they operate in life. Now, it talks about the relationship between ethics and diversity because of the fact that people are from different backgrounds. Ethics basically boils down to allowing yourself to operate with good character, to be able to not damage the individual and to help the individual to change if there's a criminal situation in another direction, or again, like I said, to maintain control. And so there are policies that the departments and agencies that you work for will have that you want to make sure that you apply them. But you have to remember, once again, that you're the professional. The person that you're serving is not the professional, or the person could have been a professional but did something wrong. And so in urban areas, for example, you are very likely to run into a Hispanic person or African American person. While in the suburbs, you might run into people from other countries, Russia, maybe even China, maybe even Japan, maybe even Vietnam, maybe even Puerto Rico. The fact of the matter is that you're going to have people, and you have to operate dealing with your relationship with those individuals where they are and considering their background and how they live their lives. So now, what's the current state of diversity? Well, first of all, number one, because of the fact that there are many problems, a lot of criminal justice agencies and organizations are focusing on giving individuals training to be sensitive to the differences that people have and to learn to respect. That's a key word. Respect those individuals and not to violate their rights. There does not need to be a tendency for a person who doesn't understand their rights to violate their rights. You are the professional in dealing with the law and the Constitution, the statutes, the codes. And so you need to make sure that just because that person may be ignorant of them and does not understand them, that you don't step on those individuals or disrespect those individuals. Those are key things that you want. And so departments are making sure. Now, the other part I like about it is that, particularly in this school, is that, again, piggybacking on what I said earlier, we have been asked and told by employers in all agencies, in all aspects, but I'm right now focusing on criminal justice, that one of the transferable skills, one of the skills that they want their employees or future professionals to have is the ability to respect individuals and to recognize that they're going to deal with diverse situations and not draw conclusions or assumptions. To try to be very careful about this thing called unconscious biasness, where you unconsciously will draw a conclusion about an individual just because you see that individual. For example, I have known situations where individuals have had strokes and their speech was slurred, and it was thought that they were inebriated or operating under alcohol, but instead they had a health crisis, and so the person who was there, whether it's the first responder, EMT, or the fire department, or the police officers that arrive, need to be able to recognize the need of those individuals to receive the proper health treatment so that they will be able to survive the crisis that they find themselves facing. So it's a very serious thing. Again, as I conclude this session, I want to again remind you, as you do your research and you find cases in your area, try to find cases in your area. Man, there are plenty of cases in the Chicago area. There are plenty of cases in, I was talking to one student about one in Minnesota. There's almost everywhere where you guys are, Florida, even North Dakota. I got a few up there. You want to make sure that you look at what's happening around you. And then the other thing is this. You want to look at the area that you plan on working in. I'm not talking about the field. I'm talking about the community, because many of you have identified areas where you want to work. And oftentimes it is the community where you live, or the state, or the county, or maybe even the municipality. But the point of the matter is you want to make sure that you understand the importance of operating as a professional. You will be able to discover during your research this week of individuals who have made mistakes with excessive force or operated unethically, such as taking bribes or either ignoring evidence, not performing in a professional fashion. So anyway, that deals with the ethics aspect. But again, and finally, making sure that you do know that you will come across people that are different from you. And it is your role to serve them, even if you don't understand, but seek to get some help from a partner or from somebody to get an understanding. Maintain control of a situation. And so that's all I have to say today. And the word that I've been saying a million times that I'm looking for is diversity. That's it. So I look forward to seeing you guys in about 3 weeks away from now, in week 6. So if you have any questions about diversity, module 4, which is coming up on research methods and job readiness, and the use of technology in criminal justice, which are all things that you should be involved with. Be aware that this course is to prepare you, as I said from the outset, for transitioning into the fields that you desire to work in. So with that, I'm going to say good night, and I am going to terminate this session. So good night.